Good morning. It's Thursday, October 20th. And as usual, yesterday morning I am searching for something to rant about, and I hear on the news about radioactive material that was found near a public school in St. Louis, Missouri. I have some friends who live in St. Louis, but I don't know if they're near this school or not. But in any event, I go and I search for the article that's related to this topic, and I find it in the magazine associated with the Smithsonian Institute. And the title of the article is Radioactive Waste Found on Missouri Elementary School Grounds. And the contaminants can be traced back to the World War II Manhattan Project. Now, I'm sure most of us in my generation know what the Manhattan Project was all about. That was the project that we worked on to create the atom bomb that ended World War II. So in a report from the Boston Chemical Data Corporation, it said the radioactive waste on the grounds was entirely above acceptable levels. There were entirely unacceptable levels on the grounds of this elementary school. Now, low levels of radiation exist in nature, but the examination found radioactive materials far in excess of the natural background. At the Jana Elementary School located in suburban Florissant, Missouri. And that must be right outside of St. Louis. But what was going on there? I mean, it's 80 years since we created the atom bomb, right? 80 years this stuff has been lying around there. And I don't know what they were doing, how it ended up in St. Louis either. Now listen to these numbers. The environmental investigators took 32 soil, dust, and plant samples from the school's library, the kitchen, the classroom, the fields, the playgrounds, and the ventilation system. And they did this work in August. And that's what the St. Louis Post-Dispatch has reported, right? The reporter's name is Colleen Schrapan. And in the samples taken from the kindergarten playground, they found radioactive isotope lead-220 in quantities more than 22 times greater than the expected level. And near the basketball courts, they found 12 times the expected. And the analysis also revealed thorium-230, polonium-210, and radium-226 at the school. Now, those sound scary to me, but I am not a chemist or an engineer or a scientist of any kind, so I really don't know what those numbers mean. But obviously, they are extremely serious numbers. And then it goes on to say that exposures to high amounts of radiation can lead to increased risk of cancer and other long-term health issues. And that's according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC. And polonium-210, for example, emits alpha particles that carry high amounts of energy that can damage and destroy genetic material in cells inside the body. Now, all of that information is coming to us from the CDC, right? The Center for Disease Control. And so far, it's unclear who requested and funded this study. And it would seem very strange to me that out of the clear blue, that it's an elementary school in St. Louis, that somebody goes along and decides they're going to start looking for radioactive materials in an elementary school. It's a mystery to me as to why this search started in the first place. So in my mind, I'm thinking that somebody was wandering around there with a Geiger counter, and that's how this thing happened. But that's not true. There's history behind this area and where this school is situated. So this school, which is part of the Hazelwood School District and has over 400 students, is situated within the floodplain of Coldwater Creek. And during World War II, weapons makers dumped nuclear waste next to the creek near the St. Louis Lambert International Airport while developing atomic weapons for the Manhattan Project. So that's how the materials ended up there. And workers at that particular facility in downtown St. Louis extracted uranium and radium during the war. and they transferred the waste from this process to two large storage sites near Coldwater Creek. And they handled the radioactive material improperly. And that contaminated the 19-mile tributary of the Missouri River and the surrounding areas. And that information is gathered from the Federal Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. Now, if they knew all of this was going on, why weren't they watching carefully? Why weren't they out there on a regular basis checking the air around this school? Now, this school, the Janus School, like many homes and businesses in the area, borders Coldwater Creek. And that's what the Boston Chemical president and the principal investigator told the news media. And he said, unfortunately, when Coldwater Creek floods, some of that radioactive material is deposited on the neighboring land. And unfortunately, that school is on the neighboring land. So this is the amazing part of this. The Army Corps of Engineers has been working to clean that mess up for over 25 years. And last December, the Corps delayed the completion date for this $35 million project, or remediation as they call it, 2038. What a fiasco. People's lives are at stake. Children's lives are at stake. And we're going to wait another 16 years for this cleanup? Are they crazy? This is an important job. This has to be done quickly. It's only been 80 years. What's another 16 years? Are they out of their minds or what? Sadly, this cleanup started in 2018, so I wonder, what are these people thinking of? People's lives are at stake. And I wonder if somebody's investigating the incident of cancer and other diseases related to radiation in and around the Coldwater Creek vicinity. I'll bet they find out that the population there is suffering from some disease at a much higher proportion than people who don't live on top of radioactive materials. So I leave you with this unfortunate news this morning, and just another example of the ineptitude that we are faced with in many areas of this country, and the lack of planning and thinking. So sadly, I must say, have a great day, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.